Welcome back. This week is a short video on getting the axles back into the Isuzu, as well as putting on the parking brake assemblies and installing the new rotors. There's also a little bit of footage of some tie rod work that we did to a go-kart. Hope you enjoy it. With the new seals in the axle tubes, we're ready to install the axles. You can see they're being very careful here not to drag the axle along the seal, otherwise it would damage it. Once the splines on the axle shaft are aligned into the differential, they can then push the hub assembly tight against the axle flange.
Yeah, like lift it up.
Next, they install the hardware and get it tightened down to the axle tube. Next, the driver's side goes in. Getting set up for the parking brakes, we need to remove the application arm from the old shoes, so we're using a special tool to remove the horseshoe clips. With the horseshoe clip spread, we can use a screwdriver to finish removing it. Now we can put the application arm back onto the new shoes. The horseshoe clip goes back onto the pin, and then we'll use a pair of needle nose pliers to close it back up. Here they're putting the parking brake cables back to the backing plate. Next, they compress the parking brake spring so they can install the shoe. Now the other shoe and all the hardware can go back on, and then we'll get ready to adjust them. This is the star wheel adjuster that we'll use to adjust the shoes to the new rotors. The second side goes together in a similar fashion. The students are using a brake shoe caliper to measure the widest distance inside of the rotor. Now the external part of the caliper goes against the shoes, and they'll adjust them up until they get a snug fit. Next, the rotors go on, and then we'll be ready to put on the calipers and new pads. With the steering wheel straight, you can see there's a considerable amount of toe out on both the front tires on this go-kart. The tie rod adjusters are all the way in, so we're going to have to do some modifying. The first thing we'll do is remove the outer tie rod along with the adjuster sleeve. Next, we'll cut a little bit off of each end of the adjuster sleeve to give us a little bit more of adjustment. Next, it goes back together, and then we'll do the same thing to the other side, and we'll be able to get our toe set straight. We're going to have a lot more footage of the pedal car project next week, but for right now they're just getting rid of some of the pieces of metal off the body that they're using before they add their own body panels.
Almost there.
Next time on Bulldog Builds, with the new ball joints installed and the CV joints back together, it's time to install the spindles back onto the Isuzu Trooper. We're also going to be adding new brake hoses to the Trooper, and we'll have a lot more work on the pedal car to share with you. See you next week.